As always, on Thursday evenings, Matt Withers from Archant Media joins us to talk us through some of the best local paper stories. Starting off with something which I guess is surprising in a way. Gang tried to snatch a dog off a busy street that's in the Ham and High, but you hear about these stories, but not necessarily when you're actually out walking your dog.
No, ordinarily it wouldn't be in the middle of the day on a busy street in Hampstead. So yeah, front page of the Ham and High, the strong juxtaposition here. You've got the adorable toy-like picture dog, and then this stark headline, as you say, gang trying to snatch dog off busy street. And it has happened. So police have actually warned pet owners to keep dogs close on the leads because a gang tried to snatch a woman's Cocker Spaniel cross, or cockapoo as it's referred to here, as she was out walking it. A 45-year-old mum, she saw a man rush up behind her, scoop up her dog in what she calls a bear hug. Now, the pet started growling and barking, obviously found this quite distressing. So the woman kicked the dog napper in the knee. He basically gave up then and fled into the white van, which he was there with two other men. But that was 11:30 in the morning last Thursday on Hampstead High Street. So very busy street, people who know that area will be aware of.
It does seem quite startling, doesn't it, that you know, like I say, you hear about people perhaps having their homes broken into because they've had a new litter of puppies. But if you're just out in Hampstead in a busy street walking your dog, I mean, you're going to find people walking around carrying it, aren't you?
It's very, very odd. It's quite a strange modus operandi. You're absolutely right. We do hear, sadly, of dog napping, especially amongst pedigree breeds. But normally it's because they've very specifically targeted with advanced knowledge and tend to go in at night. Here, they seem to have been kind of crawling along the street in the hope that they may see them. If you were looking for kind of pedigree breeds, Hampstead High Street would probably be the place to go because there's a lot of people around there who do have these types of dogs. But at 11:30 in the morning, you just think you can grasp one and pull it into a van. Now, happily here, she said it's a good thing that my dog is scared of men. If it hadn't been, the guy would have scooped him up. But he was off the lead at the time. And now PC Nick Dayton of Hampstead Police has said, I suggest at this time, if you're walking your dog, have it on a lead. Do not allow it to run off. Don't get distracted and keep a close eye on it. So obviously they think that this is something that may be ongoing.
Yeah. All right, so moving on now to the Croydon Advertiser, and this is a patient who was locked in a hospital toilet for 12 hours.
Yeah, which is pretty awful. And then she's 84, which kind of quadruples it, really. Quite shocking stuff. I mean, really. They've spoken to her son, Chris Barasinski. He lives in Germany, but flew back immediately when he found that his 84-year-old mother had been taken ill to Croydon University Hospital. Now, when he got to the UK and got to the hospital, he couldn't locate her, and they told him that she'd been discharged, which he found very unusual, saying that she's 84, how has she been discharged and that they don't know about it. He went to her house after getting keys from her neighbours, and she wasn't there. And at that point, they phoned A&E, no idea. They phoned the police at 2 o'clock in the morning. They declare officially missing. So this is where it seems like something potentially quite awful has happened. And it's only at 8 a.m. the next morning when he gets a call from the hospital. They say they found her and that she'd accidentally locked herself in a toilet. They think that she'd been in there for 12 hours. And he says, how can this happen? How can you lose a patient? If someone's missing at that stage, it should ring alarm bells.
I mean, how can you lose someone? But also, how can you get stuck in a toilet for 12 hours without anyone knocking on the door? Or
Indeed. I mean, we should say we don't know the nature of her illness. So it's entirely possible that she wasn't able to raise the alarm. But yes, you would imagine at some point somebody may have knocked on the door, or perhaps numerous people came along and just thought that somebody was in there, and then found something else and went on. So she's quite poorly. She's an elderly lady. She had no water and food. Croydon Health Service NHS Trust say that our findings will be shared with the family first, and we cannot release further details until this is concluded. So they have launched an investigation into the incident.
OK, poor woman. Now, the next one is from the Newham Recorder. You're going to have to explain this a little to me, because it's about an e-sports arena.
Yes, this is the Silvertown Partnership right out in Newham. At the moment, they're working on a large development, 850 homes, 500,000 square feet of flexible workspace, food and drink outlets. But the crowning glory of this will be a 300,000 square foot hub for esports. Now, esports is what you and I would call people playing computer games. This has now become a huge, in some parts of the world, a huge attraction for spectators. Started really, I think, South Korea, obviously then America next, and then over here, which is people treat esports as an actual spectator sport, and they will pack out arenas to watch two teenagers play computer games against each other.
I'm clearly not the demographic to get excited about this, but there must be money in it if they're setting aside that much of a development.
I believe that there's huge amounts of money. There's people in other parts of the world who, you know, they do this professionally and they're earning millions and they get endorsements. And there are people over here who are very much pushing for the government to recognise this as an actual sport. Now, I would personally argue that anything where the most exercise you get is stretching out your arm to get another can of Red Bull and a bag of Wotsits probably shouldn't get the tax breaks that you get as being a sport. But there's no doubt that there are an awful lot of people who will pay to go and watch other people play computers. Just go down to your local arcade. You just hang around there.
Just wonder, you know, are we in the right game here, really? But there we are. OK, moving on. And this is the potential to get a house in Blackheath for just a £5.
Yes, Bexley News Shopper, and that's the headline. And it's true, this is a £1.25 million house in Blackheath. The owner basically says she wants somebody else to enjoy it, so she's raffling it off for £5 a ticket rather than going down the normal route of an estate agent. This is Renu Kadri. She lives in the house in Harley Road. She wants to make money for charity. She's raised money for WaterAid and psoriasis, which she herself suffers from. She's got 5 children. There's only one left living here. I think it's time somebody else gets to enjoy living here.
It sounds quite altruistic, and then I did the maths, because she's hoping to sell 750,000 tickets at a £5 a go, so that's 3.7 million.
Yeah, I mean, it's largely altruistic. To be fair, she says there are a lot of costs that come with this. If it doesn't reach its target of 750,000 tickets by November, then the leftover pot will go to one ticket holder. But she says it has to cover cost things like PayPal, which is using administration, legal fees, so all those things rack up. But yes, I mean, your maths is right. It does suggest that there is a motive. She has to find somewhere else to live. It does say that she's lived there for 20 years, but now because of psoriasis, she can't climb the stairs. So perhaps she would. Well, it does say here that she's looking to downsize, so you know she will need money for a new house. But in general, I hope, and I have no reason to think otherwise, this is a very good charity fundraising scheme.
Well, it's one way to get on the property market, that's for sure. OK,
Quite.
Matt, thank you very much for coming in this evening.